Hello, everyone. We are group 4 of Management 107 class, and then our group members are 子华马、凯华晨、释龙章、浩松侃、冯廷芳、易同峰, and 嘉西罗. Today, we're going to talk about the consumer behavior problem inside live streaming commercials, which we think people are widely affected by the impulse decision making of purchase during the live streaming commercials. So next, please watch our presentation about this topic. The first thing we're going to talk about is the consumer behavior problems and background informations. As we all know, live streaming commercials are becoming more and more popular for the last 5 years, and they're creating a large amount of values. For example, some famous influencers in China, they could create more than $1 billion of purchase throughout their live streaming shows in a day. And they are more focused on fashion and beauty products as majority. And the statistics proves that this growth will be continuing in the future, and it's all widely spread all across the world.
So live streaming commercials offer business a chance to reach a larger audience through influencer marketing. However, one current issue is the potential for consumers to make less informed decisions due to the influence of aspirational influence group the influencers belong to and the liking effect. And in this case, consumers may be swayed by their endorsement without fully researching the product or considering other options, and ultimately lead to dissatisfaction with the product and service, or even buyer's remorse, and potentially harm their trust in a brand or business.
The next part is consumer analysis. Consumers are always view products from visual and auditory perspectives, thus merchants will choose anchors that match their product philosophy. For example, clothing jewelry products will pair anchors with better figures and fancy looks, and the anchors usually introduce the products from consumers' point of view, since consumers will more likely to accept these products. The next part is decision making, and the target group of customers for live streaming those who put price at first. So this is non-compensatory model, which they will value one attributes as most important parts and reduce the weight of other attributes. The next part is social influence. Those anchors are aspirational reference group, which means fans want to own the same product they have. And an anchor with a fan base have resonant power. Fans are willing to follow their leaders. And they also have some information power, which means they present the product's information more professionally and understandably.
The return rate of live streaming is 6 times infographics, and the conversion rate is 8.6 times graphic. The two key reasons people make purchases are based on price and products. It varies in groups. A high percentage of reason for watching live streaming as entertaining shows that most people can resist the temptations.
Let's talk about our research proposal and its potential limitations. So in our research, we will design experiments to investigate whether impulsive decision-making will exist in the liking effect through live streaming commercials. And through analysis, it is predicted that consumers may be more likely to make impulsive purchase based on the influencer's endorsement without evaluating the necessity and quality of the product indicated by the higher purchase and higher return rates. So we propose to randomly select 500 consumers from Lancome's membership as participants and assigning them randomly to either the treatment or control group. So the treatment group will watch live streaming commercials to the new product, which is hydrating toners, promoted by one of the most famous influencers for 15 minutes. And the control group will be invited to an online shopping platforms for the same products, but with a recorded video demonstration without influencers, also for 15 minutes. And there will be 250 participants in each group. So we will then collect and compare the number of purchases and returns made by both groups of consumers. The research findings will provide insights into consumer behavior related to live streaming commercials and influencer marketing. So for consumers, making a less informed purchase decision is wasting their money, and in the long term, this can have an impact on consumer loyalty and repeat purchase. So for marketers, the issues can impact their reputation and success of the business, as consumers may not be making well-informed decisions when they purchase the product and more likely to return it. And also this issue is relevant to policymakers, as there may be a need for increased regulations and guidelines surrounding influencers, marketing, and live streaming commercials to ensure the consumers are adequately protect.
The most significant factor affecting the experiment is the constraint imposed by cost. Due to financial limitations, it may not be feasible to conduct an intuitive comparison experiments to test the hypothesis.
Instead, the research have to rely on existing statistics provided by a third party. Working with influencers and merchants is known to be expensive, and using third-party data may not allow for accurate control of variables. As a result, we were only able to gather consumers' opinions through interviews and surveys. This approach presents some challenges, such as the possibility of responses bias and a small sample size. Participants may be influenced by social expectation or memory bias. Moreover, live streaming commercials often involve a large number of consumers, and it is almost impossible for us to reach the same sample size. Also, the participants of our study may not be fully representative of the consumer group we are reaching, which could limit the generalized ability of our findings. If we have unrestricted access to the resource and we're not constrained by cost limitations, we could collaborate with influencers, live streaming platforms, and merchants to execute authentic live streaming commercials. By doing so, we could compare their effectiveness with our consumption channels, thereby obtaining more precise and accurate data. If time permits, we could even conduct A/B tests to gain deeper insights into the critical factors.
And for the marketing implication part, we're going to do it as before purchase and after purchase. And the first marketing implication provides merchants in this situation aim to promote more rational consumption by consumers and build lasting relationships with them. Even though it is essential for merchants to make profit through live streaming, but the amount of returned products, which is proportional to the sales volume, reflect the fact there is no profit, and most of the time the labor costs are wasted. So to solve this problem, here are our 4 steps. First is to change the relationship between sales volume and commission, and then post and proclaim the concept of rational consumption, build up communities for consumers, and then we're going to interact with the community regularly.
So the marketing implications we would like to give merchants can not only admonish the consumer to buy goods rationally when they purchase items, but also change the problem of impulsive consumer spending in terms of after-sales service to prevent consumer from returning goods with impunity. So here are 4 steps for this method. The first one is observe consumer behavior, and we evaluate consumer behavior as credit score. The third is different after-sales service. I will discuss it later. And fourth is promote rational shopping for consumers. So for the after-sales service, through the consumer's usual shopping behavior, such as return as well as their comments on the goods and service, I will give them each person a credit value, just like the credit card value. So based on their different credit score, there will be different after-sales service in 2 aspects. The first one is refund speed. So refund of people with lower credit score will take longer time to process than other people with higher credit scores. And the second is shipping cost. So sellers do not have to cover shipping costs on return for people with lower credit scores. So that's our 2 marketing implications.
So that's all for our presentations. Thank you so much for watching.